Hi guys, it's Ru and welcome to the first episode of my brand new series, Is It Worth It? Today we're tackling Louis Vuitton, the bags, the quality, the brand, all that good stuff, so let's get straight into it. Oh, there's a hair in my tea. So this series is going to be a chatty series, long episodes, typically between 10 and 20 to 30 minutes long, because we have a lot to cover, discussing brands, luxury goods, luxury makeup, and whether they're worth it or not. This is like a encyclopedia reference of my kind of opinion and examples of goods from brands and makeup and things, so new buyers or people who are already into luxury goods can see this video, study the items, look at them, see what they think, get someone else's opinion. And it's good because if you're moving into a new brand or you're buying luxury for the first time, it can be a little overwhelming, so this is just a resource for people to get opinions and examples. And I'm repeating myself now, so let's just get straight into it. I should warn that this makeup is not my own. I was just at an event thing and I had someone do my makeup. Like, what is this line? And these brows are certainly not my own. One has a more aggressive tone than the other, but we're going with it. You might want to grab some tea because this might take a while. It's going to be a long video. So Louis Vuitton has been trading for a long time, and as a result is the epitome of luxury in the sense that it is seen all over the world, it is universal, you can find it in almost every country, it is instantly recognisable logo-wise, you know what it is, and it's part of the top 3 tier luxury goods companies, which consist of Louis Vuitton, Chanel and Hermes. Louis Vuitton is so popular because it is in the kind of lower price category of Chanel and Hermes. It has lower priced items, and it has canvas and things like that, and it has many iconic styles, and it tends to be people's first introduction into luxury, so that's why it's such a popular thing. Now, hopefully I'm not butchering this, but as far as I'm aware, Louis Vuitton started in 1845 or 1850 something. I could look that up, but I'm filming on my phone, but it's very early, and Louis Vuitton himself was an apprentice trunk maker in 1837 as far as I'm aware, and the brand kind of started because travel around the Orient and the globe and going to, you know, the tropics and things like that, and going to the pyramids was the height of fashion back then, and you needed luggage and trunks to travel with, so he worked for a trunk maker and he quickly identified problems that need solving, such as mold growing within the trunks, security issues, stuff like that. So he worked on his own kind of product when he started his own brand to combat those issues. Now the LV monogram you see typically will be canvas. Now canvas is a material we're going to be mainly talking about today. We will touch on some of their leather goods, but canvas is what the majority of Louis Vuitton products, most of the time if you're going to buy something, it's going to be made of canvas. Canvas is not leather. Canvas is coated fabric. It is very durable, very waterproof, and as a result, it tends to be cheaper than leather because they can't throw the huge markup on something that isn't leather, even though in this day and age, leather is just as cheap as man-made fabrics because there's so much consumption of beef and stuff, but that's a whole other topic. This video is going to consist of 3 sections. In the first section, we will discuss Louis Vuitton, general overview of the brand. Secondly, we will discuss products and products I own, examples. I have 3 examples for you. 1 example from the 80s, 1 example from a year ago, and 1 example I just recently purchased about a month ago. So I have a good kind of range of coverage for you to see how things wear and how they last. And thirdly, we will discuss whether I think they're worth it, my general overview, the store kind of policies, all that good stuff. So let's get straight in. Now canvas isn't leather. Canvas is a man-made fabric that is coated, and it has an imprint on it that does kind of resemble a leathery kind of print. You'll see that when I show you examples, but that's usually just on the kind of monogram, but I'll have to be sure. You'll see examples. I'm getting confused in my head now, but it's not leather, and I don't think a lot of people know that canvas isn't leather. It might have leather trim or it might have leather lining on the product, but if it's the typical monogram, it will, in the colour scheme that is the kind of yellowy with the brown, it will most typically be canvas. Canvas is highly durable, canvas is great to work with, it's a great material, it will last you forever, but it isn't leather, and I do wonder how many people know that, and maybe they're just walking around under the false impression that it is leather because it's from a high-end brand. Okay, so the first example I have to show you is my brand spanking new Louis Vuitton key clay or key holder. No, it's the key holder. It's not the key clay. It's the key holder with the hooks, the hookers. It looks like this. It is monogrammed. This is their kind of version of kind of Saffiano leather. It's very durable, but it is leather. And then on the back you have the monogram print. So as you can see, it does have an imprinted leather kind of esque feature to it, so I can understand why people would think it's leather, but it isn't. It's coated canvas. You can see the stitching's perfect. This is brand new. I can't imagine any problems with it, but because it's so durable and scratch resistant, I do plan to have this for a very long time. All my small accessories, I always buy Louis Vuitton for these kind of things, because sure, a Chanel leather key holder looks gorgeous, it will probably fall apart a lot faster than this will, and it's got this really handy pocket for you to slip something in. Slip something in, that sounds wrong as hell. As you can see here, it says coated fabric and cowhide lining, so that is coated fabric. And for note, if you buy this, the date code is on the inside bit here. But yes, there's no wear on this just yet. It is all in great condition, great quality. Can't complain, but I wouldn't presume to have any issues just yet. Until I've used this a lot more, until I've had it a lot longer, and this is just an example of what a product will look like when it's new and the kind of condition it will be in. The stitching will be perfect, the clasps and things will all work beautifully, everything will be immaculate, and if it isn't when you buy it, then you need to go straight back to the store, because that is definitely a fault on their part. Now the second product I have to show you is completely man-made. The interior lining is man-made and the canvas on the outside, as we keep saying, is man-made. So this is my Cosmetic case. This is in the GM size in Damier Ebene, which corresponds to the Damier is the checks and Ebene is the kind of colour scheme, which is brown and chocolate kind of colours. They also do Azure, which is a white kind of cream grey colour combo, and it's in the GM, which means the Grande model, I think, and then they have the smaller size down, which is MM, which means medium model, and PM, which means petite model. That's what I guess it means. This only comes in 2 sizes, so I can't be sure, but I know that this comes in 2 sizes, and I think it's the PM and the GM, or the MM and the GM. I'm confused. I just know this is GM. So I have had this for a year now, and it is in absolutely great quality. There is slight tarnish on the hardware. No one will ever be able to see that though, but just right on the LV there's tarnish. This happens from oils in your hands and your fingers. It salts the metal. This is brass, but otherwise than that it's completely fine. Oh my god, the canvas has softened up, guys, so beautifully. Louis Vuitton bags soften in the most beautiful way. They don't become slouchy because it's still a rigid material, but they become so soft, so malleable, and it becomes warm almost, and just amazing. I'm just still in love with this. The only thing I don't like about it is the colour scheme. That's personal preference. I would have a black one over this any day, so I might swap this out and sell it. I'll see how I feel. The only piece of leather is the leather here. This is the leather trim. Otherwise than that, this is entirely man-made, but on the inside, this is where the real cracker happens. Bam. Look at that colour of that interior. It's absolutely gorgeous, phenomenal, such a beautiful bright red. If this was black with red interior, like, Lord help us. The beauty could not be contained by mere mortals. And here you can see cowhide trim, man-made lining, and coated fabric. So the man-made lining is the red interior, the cowhide trim is the little flap I showed you, and then the coated fabric is obviously the outside, so yeah. If you buy this item, the date code is located in the corner of the pocket up in here, so that's where that's located. Inside the Cosmetic cases you have a lipstick holder, you can slot lipstick in, a little pouch. Any white you see on here, this is just powder, this will come off with a wet cloth, so that's nothing to worry about. These are so great for using, guys, if you're considering a slightly larger piece than a key holder. These are phenomenal value. I mean, these are still expensive goods, but they're still cheaper in comparison to anything Chanel or Hermes do. And it's iconic, and you can just wipe the interior clean. I mean, and you've got the thing inside that says, where is it? Made in France. Now, important to note, they have construction houses in Paris, Spain, I think, and some have been made in America. There is an America one, but those are rare and I've never encountered those before. So those are official. I mean, some people actively seek out the Paris-made things. Some people actively seek out the American-made things. It's really on you, but you're going to be in the store a long time if you're demanding that you get one that's made in a certain place, or you might have to travel a long distance. They're all the same quality, there's quality control, so it's a standard throughout. But yes, this is softened up in the most beautiful way. It's not creased, it's durable, nothing is default, the stitching is immaculate. I use this every single day, in and out and in and out with the zip. If the zip was to break, Louis Vuitton would replace it for me. It has great store policy. That's another thing to note that makes these bags worth it, is that you're paying a lot of money, but you can bring it back and get repaired, you know, and they usually do that for you quite happily if you're good with a sales assistant. Only occasionally will they kind of ask you to pay for it or start demanding weird stuff. There has been experiences, and if it's a really big repair on a really old bag, you will pay for it, but if it's a new purchase and it is a fault of the company, they will most likely repair it for you or give you a new one. But this holds a lot. This is a big makeup case. I have lipsticks and powders and brushes and hand creams and mouth sprays and all that good stuff. So yeah, I adore this, and although I am thinking about selling it, it's nothing to do with the quality, it's purely the colour scheme. It was between this and the multicoloured one, which, if you don't know, Louis Vuitton do a multicoloured LV print, which is phenomenal. But I chose to get this because it was going to take a long time to get it and I was impatient, and I regret it now, and I may be searching for another makeup bag. Whether I go back to Louis Vuitton, I'm not sure, because it's not really important that it's made of canvas or anything, because I feel comfortable whatever kind of case I use, so we'll see. But I do love this, I absolutely adore this, and yes, it's a beautiful piece. Now, before I show you my last piece, guys, I want you to be open-hearted and kind and considerate. You may think that bags are inanimate objects, but they have feelings too. And if you're mean to my bag, it will be sad. I know it's rough, it looks beaten up, it is cracked, it's damaged, but this bag is very old and you need to be nice to it. I am of course talking about my vintage Louis Vuitton Saumer 35. Be not concerned that the print is turned up, that is purely because they use one constant flap of canvas, so that's why it is turned. So yes, this was made in France. The date code AR corresponds to it being made in France, and this was made on the 12th month of 1989. So this is one of the last bags Louis Vuitton made in the 80s. It came from Japan. Whether it was bought there, I'm not sure, but it is an old piece. People have bags from 1920, 1900, whatever. They have bags from very early eras, and they've held up maybe a bit better than this, but this has been heavily used by someone. You can tell that this has been loved and had seen regular use, which is kind of what I love about it, because leather and Louis Vuitton, when you buy these new, this is stark white and it patinas beautifully to become this kind of patina tea colour, which is just a phenomenal kind of character adder to the bag. And I mean, this bag survived the 90s. Courtney Love didn't survive the 90s as well as this bag. This bag survived Britney's troubled 2007 breakout era. Like, this is really, like, Britney didn't survive that. She shaved her head. This bag is still here. So it has done tremendously well to make a year since it's been used so much. We will get into how damaged this is, what kind of faults you will see in a bag that is as old as this. So this bag is 25 years old, it's older than me, and as expected, with constant use, you start to get cracks in the leather, which you can see there, and you can see some scuffing on the inside. It's a bit worn. The brass tends to turn darker, but please keep in mind there are people who can keep Louis Vuitton bags well. They don't use them religiously and constantly. They polish the brass constantly. You coat the fabric and the leather to keep it safe, and it will age 100 times better than this has, but this is just a bag that has been used constantly, rough and tumble, every single day since the person bought it, obviously, and this is the kind of condition it's ended up in. There is some transfer colour from the brass hardware on here where it's been clipped that it kind of darkens. You can see some more cracking along there. And then the most damaged part is the strap here. There's obviously some water staining on the strap, but this has been chewed by a dog, obviously a little puppy or something, but it's still solid. Like, I use this bag all the time and it's still solid. And as you can see, the lighter part in there that's been covered by the strap, where the kind of natural on its own patina and the outside exposed patina, you can see the difference where it says Louis Vuitton there. Now, the reason I'm pointing out all these flaws in my bag to you is because the canvas and the interior is absolutely immaculate. Immaculate. I would spell it out, but I'm scared I spell it wrong. This has no scuffs, no dyeing, no damage to it. The interior smells like brand new. It is still, this cotton is in perfect condition. It is just insane, and there's no stains on the outside at all. It is not dyed, it is not scratched, scuffed. It has lasted so well in comparison to other bags that are made of leather. It just doesn't scuff, it doesn't scrape, and it'll last you a long time. And this is the kind of bag, by the structure of it, I'll let you see. It's a little folded because I've not just taken everything out of it for this video. But it's two bags attached at the same here by this bell, and then attached at the top. And this is obviously a bag that someone would use for travel. This is a bag that someone would use if they have kids, and it really is an all-purpose multi-use bag that's great for people with kids. So this has obviously been used a ton, but is still in perfect condition. And this is my travel bag. I travel with this all the time. When I go on holiday, this is my go-to because it's still stylish. It has that symbolism of the iconic Louis Vuitton brand, but it's worn. It looks like you've traveled everywhere with it. It has a story to it, and that's one of the great things about buying Louis Vuitton, is that your leather will patina with you. You keep your first product and the leather will grow darker and it will tell the stories and it will be with you a long time, and it's kind of a symbolic relationship. And then you can do what I did and adopt an elderly Louis Vuitton bag and bring it into your life and give it a good home and let it see many use. And this was my first major Louis Vuitton bag. It is one of the few large Louis Vuitton bags I own, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like, I don't care that it looks beaten up because it's got character and it's got a story, and I should really name it, but I get panicky with names because I have to make sure they're perfect, and that'll take ages. So Louis Vuitton bags last a huge amount of time. The store experience, which we're going to speak to now, of course it varies. You may get a friendly sales assistant, you may not. A top tip when shopping in designer stores, if your sales assistant approaches you and seems a bit dry, unhumorous, unhelpful, one of the great things you can do is basically say, "Hi, how are you? I'm great," if they ask you, and say, "How are you doing?" Stuff like that. Go in with a smile, be bubbly and alive, even if you're feeling crappy, and that store person will immediately just lighten up and, you know, talk to you, and it can really brighten their day because they're probably having a terrible day with lots of terrible customers. So don't try and get too hooked up on bad customer service, and don't let it spoil your experience. You can always come back another day and get your bag then. Store services include monogramming, as you've seen in my key holder. They have tons of store services that you can use, take advantage of. Wrapping, everything is always presented to you in a box. Louis Vuitton boxes typically look like this, and it has a little velvet pouch. This was from a luggage tag, and I have numerous ones up here. Like, there's another shelf that's just filled with Louis Vuitton boxes, and they have little gift tags that you can use, and it's always really beautifully presented, you know. But funny we speak about that beautiful presentation. I have had one bad store experience. Now, my local store in Edinburgh is always really friendly, and I know the staff really well. I know my sales assistant really well, to the point where I text her, tell her what I want, she puts it aside, all that groovy stuff. But this one time, I went in and I didn't recognise the person behind the counter. Now, there may be the super manager or visiting manager from a regional area, possibly, and It was 10 to closing, I was really late, I was apologetic. I said, look, I have ordered in a luggage tag as a spare. It was put aside for me, could I quickly have it monogrammed? And the guy that served me was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So we're doing that, and I could see they were starting to tidy up the store and close down. So then the manager came along and said to the guy, you need to finish your shift work in the back room, we're closing down now, this customer doesn't take priority. I was just like, right, Cam, this customer's right in front of you. He can hear that he isn't a priority anymore, so that's not cute. He then proceeded to go and hot stamp my item and then hand me my item like this, without a bag. It's not even got the leather tab on it, this is the exact box, there's no wrapping, just my receipt and this, and it was like, there you go, thank you. Now, you're probably thinking, why is this a big deal? Who cares? This is a Louis Vuitton shopping bag. All products should come in this. I am not going to carry around a bloody Louis Vuitton box and a receipt card with me while I'm shopping out in the day. It's ridiculous. So God knows what they thought was appropriate by just giving it to me. I just thought that was kind of rude, but that was one time. Never happened again. Never seen that person again. So, not today, Satan. Not today. But to conclude, I absolutely 100% think that Louis Vuitton products are worth it. Never a doubt in my mind, they last a long time. Yes, I understand they're pricey and you could be watching this saying, I wouldn't spend $270 on a cosmetic case, but it is going to last you a long time and it's made of durable materials, and if that's something you like, then why bully yourself into not wanting it? There's this kind of attitude just now in the world where you're looked down upon because you enjoy buying things for yourself that might be a bit more pricier than necessary. That's not bad. Materialism and being wasteful are completely different things. Actually, to be materialistic to the point where you buy something expensive and you fall in love with it and you have it your whole life is a lot better than being wasteful going to Primark, which is a UK cheap store, or H&M as you have in America, and buying a cosmetic case that you might throw out because you don't have any emotional attachment to it. It's completely okay to do these things, and it's a lot better to have an item and keep it forever and not just interchange it constantly because you've not spent a lot of money on it and you don't care about throwing it out. So the products are absolutely worth it. The quality is there. Canvas is a great material. They do leather items. There is the Imprinte, which is the monogram that's imprinted onto the leather. They do smooth leather. They do tons of leather, but their leather bags tend to retail for about 2,000, maybe 1,000 on small leather goods, but 2,000 to 4,000. They try and keep up with Hermes and Chanel that way, but the canvas price range tends to go from a few hundred up to about 1,000 on really exceptional pieces, but it's very durable, it's great quality, it's cheaper than a lot of designer items, and you're getting something nice and iconic and all that good stuff. So I hope you found this helpful, guys. It's kind of an infomercial. It's not to brag or anything, obviously, it's just to inform people. I'm not saying look how many Louis Vuitton things I have, I'm an expert. I'm just saying look at the experience I've had. Are you wanting to have this experience because I think it's a good experience kind of thing? It's like a holiday review, like I'm reviewing a holiday, but it's a review of a brand, which that's a bad comparison. So absolutely great talking to you guys. As always, a super pleasure. Many more luxury goods videos coming up. And as always, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And tell me, is Monogram dated? I've asked this before, but I really like to know, do you think the Monogram is tacky and dated? I don't mind it. I think it's nice. I mean, I wouldn't constantly wear it. I prefer something black, minimal kind of bag. But for like occasional wear and holiday wear, like I love Monogram, I totally don't mind it. If it's going to be more durable, then that's okay with me. So let me know down in the comments, and I'll catch you guys later. And remember, stay blended.